Every war is a story of resistance and strategy. To understand how the Ukrainian K2 battalion repelled a massive Russian attack is to discover the dependence of modern warfare on both courage and technology. On the freezing cold morning of December 14th, Russian troops launched a massive attack on the Ukrainian brigade. A Ukrainian reconnaissance drone detected 6 BM-21 Grad multi-barrel rocket launcher systems. This is a weapon capable of launching up to 40 rockets in a short time and neutralizing a large area. Ukrainian drones quickly mobilized to target these threats. The first drone neutralized a launcher. Then the second drone attacked another launcher. Drone cameras confirmed that one of the systems was in flames. It was not clear at first whether this attack was full-scale or a diversionary maneuver. This was because only one Russian tank was moving along an unusual route. While the reconnaissance drone was following this tank, an MTLB light armored personnel carrier appeared from another direction. The MTLB is a versatile military vehicle designed to transport troops as well as provide ammunition and equipment logistics. It did not make strategic sense to launch an attack with only one vehicle. Another Russian tank, in an unexpected maneuver, moved in a third direction. The Ukrainian army realized that with this move, the Russians were trying to disperse the artillery firepower. They needed to make a quick assessment to determine the enemy's main direction of attack. The Russian infantry was advancing in small groups of 7 to 10 men from 3 different directions towards the Ukrainian defense lines. The enemy attacked from multiple points, forcing the Ukrainian forces to think like a chess master. Each step required a reciprocal move. In an unexpected move from a different flank, the Russians attacked from a previously unused route. Forest belts and valleys were strategically important for Ukrainian defense lines, but the enemy managed to take advantage of them. Many FPV drones targeted fortified Russian tanks, with shells from grenade launchers joining the effort. These tanks withstood the attacks thanks to their strong armor. Eventually, one tank was destroyed by fire, thanks to the efforts of the Ukrainian army. A tank's greatest strength lies in its combination with infantry support. And where was the infantry? The Russians covered the front line with thick smoke, reducing visibility and weakening the Ukrainian defenses. Ukrainian soldiers heard a growing hum, a sign of approaching equipment and vehicles. The Russians made a trawl through the Ukrainian forest plantation, but this vehicle was abandoned when they realized that it would not allow them to advance. A simultaneous attack was launched from 5 different directions. 3 of these attacks were carried out with equipment, and the other 2 with running infantry groups. For the K2 unit, this situation became a multifaceted chess game. It was imperative to assess threats from all directions and respond quickly. A Russian tank was targeted by a Ukrainian kamikaze drone while opening fire. Despite being hit, the tank continued to fire with low accuracy and limited fire because the additional armor welded on it prevented it from turning. The tank could only fire forward. This clearly demonstrated the Russians' familiarity with the area and the impact of the war that had been fought there for a long time. The Ukrainians tried to assess where they could effectively use their anti-tank weapons, but the heavily fortified tank was too resilient to be easily destroyed by drones. 5 different drones had previously attempted to shoot it down, but without success. The Russian tank, relying on the strength of its heavy armor, directed itself into the trees. When it reached the wooded area, 4 more MTLB light armored personnel carriers appeared to support the attack. MTLBs are known for their infantry carrying capacity as well as their role in providing logistical support. The tank continued to advance, breaking through the trees. Faced with this situation, Ukrainian forces realized that only an armored counterattack could stop the tank. An armored group moved to reach the Russian tank. When the Russians saw the Ukrainian armored vehicles, they began to retreat. The Ukrainian tank was attacked by 4 FPV drones while pursuing the Russian tank and suffered some damage. The other flank, where the Russians crossed the tree line, also saw intense activity. Groups of enemy buggies and motorcycles were advancing, with an MTLB light armored personnel carrier following them. On the left flank, Ukrainian spotters spotted 20 motorcycles and 4 buggies. 2 more MTLBs were advancing in another direction. Such attacks from multiple directions are intended to split the defense line and create confusion. The K2 battalion successfully met this challenge. Kamikaze drones neutralized the MTLBs, and the infantry inside were forced to retreat quickly.
On the other flank, FPV drone pilots managed to shoot down a Russian tank. The tank crew abandoned their vehicles and fled in the direction of the Ukrainian infantry. At the same time, enemy elements on motorcycles tried to take advantage of the terrain by heading towards one of the valleys. This hilly and complex geography provided a strategic advantage for highly mobile vehicles. When the Russian motorcyclists entered the forested area, they encountered Ukrainian infantry, where they suffered serious losses. A Ukrainian kamikaze drone targeted a Russian MTLB light armored personnel carrier carrying infantry, causing serious damage to the vehicle. The armor of these vehicles is not sufficiently resistant to intense attacks. As the vehicle was being abandoned, Ukrainian drone pilots completely destroyed the same vehicle. 8 motorcycles and 4 Russian cars were then dispatched to advance towards Ukrainian positions. From reconnaissance drone footage, it was clear that this group was accompanied by an FPV drone. The Ukrainian army realized that drones would not be enough and provided support with 152mm howitzers. An accurate grenade drop by a drone operator severely weakened the enemy. But there was one striking detail. No Russian soldier stopped to help his wounded comrade. This once again demonstrates the brutal nature of war. Some of the Russian soldiers were equipped with electronic warfare devices and shotguns to counter the FPV drones. One MTLB, previously damaged by a drone attack, could only move forward despite these attacks, possibly because the turning mechanism was completely jammed. Once the vehicle was abandoned, Ukrainian drone operators moved quickly and completely neutralized this group of Russian soldiers. Another group of Russian infantry had to make an emergency landing in the middle of the field after a drone attack. This group of 6 was also intercepted by Ukrainian operators. In war, quick decision-making and effective use of technology always make the difference. On the other flank, drone pilots were targeting Russian troops on motorcycles. A drone operator spotted 3 Russian soldiers on the horizon and targeted one of them. Drone then targeted another soldier. Russian cars then headed towards Ukrainian positions. 2 vehicles were observed, and shortly afterwards 2 more vehicles moved. A drone made a direct hit on one of these vehicles, halting its progress. K2 soldiers inspected the vehicles and discovered that each had machine guns, disposable grenade launchers, water, and food stocks. This indicated that the Russians intended not only to attack, but also to establish a base. In some areas, the Russians managed to infiltrate between Ukrainian positions. These groups were quickly neutralized by Ukrainian drones and artillery fire. It was one of the most naked facts of the war that the enemy had nowhere to hide. Some Russian infantry were stopped by bombs. One infantryman pretended to be unarmed and tried to shoot down a drone. In another scene, a Russian soldier carrying an electronic warfare device had to leave it on his motorcycle and tried to shoot down a drone with his assault rifle. On the right flank, another Russian assault group launched an attack. After a successful grenade attack by a Ukrainian FPV drone, the area was attacked with cluster munitions. An MTLB with Russian infantry was intercepted and then began to retreat. Another group attempting to advance through the area was intercepted by drone strikes. A large number of infantrymen broke up into small groups of 3 and attacked from 5 to 7 different directions. Such simultaneous attacks are intended to create chaos and weaken defenses. However, Ukraine's rapid counterattacks neutralized this plan. As a result, the Russian offensive was neutralized. This conflict once again demonstrated how technology and strategic superiority determine the course of war. Subscribe to the channel to get instant updates on more. See you in the next video.